Welcome to the Film Garage 208 podcast. My name is Sarah, and then this is Daniel with me.
Hello.
Hello. Today we have with us Tia Panter, the owner of the Eclectic Chair here in Idaho Falls. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to our podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
I've been wanting you on our podcast for a while.
Oh.
You have a lot of fun thoughts and opinions.
Yeah. Lots of controversial opinions. And yeah.
Well, we can talk about them.
Yeah. All right.
So how about you just tell us about you? Tell us about what you do here in Idaho Falls.
Okay. I am a hairstylist and I own a salon, a studio. And my business has taken a lot of different shapes over the years and kind of has shifted and grown like with me. Yeah.
It's like you've been doing this for like
a long time.
A long time.
Yeah.
So like, how'd you get started? How did you get into this?
I feel like I've said this a million times, but it's like I always just knew I was going to be a hairstylist since I was a kid. My mom worked in salons, and so I kind of grew up around it. And went to school, to cosmetology school when I was 17.
Wow.
And graduated and received my license at 18 and started working right away. And so, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a running joke with my sisters that my first job was like cutting hair in the neighborhood for like the neighborhood kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at like 12, 13 years old, I'm given little trims.
That's so funny.
So bad.
Those parents
Terrible.
come home and they're like, what
I'm
did
sure
you
they
do to
were
your
like,
hair?
What have you been up to today? But we were just like...
Were they good?
Scissors and hair.
No.
Absolutely not. 100% not good. I don't really remember. I probably like blacked that out.
Yeah, maybe someone has photos, like a parent somewhere has a photo.
I hope that they didn't notice. Like, I hope that I was strategic enough to just do like a skim trim or something, you know, that they didn't know. But
yeah.
You were 12.
Did.
You didn't know what a skim trim
No,
was.
I didn't.
You were just cutting.
I was like, micro trim? What's that? We don't do that. I was probably 30 when I really learned what a micro trim was. So that's probably...
You know,
True.
it takes time.
Yeah.
It takes time.
I definitely did that as a kid. Shaved my head, did the mohawk.
Did you?
Yeah, I went home and mom was pissed.
I bet.
Yeah. It looked so bad. She was like, you're finishing off that haircut and shaving the mohawk.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Did it crush your dreams, your hair
A little
dreams?
bit.
Yeah.
A little bit, but it did look bad. It didn't look good. So, I mean, I can't blame her.
Yeah, in her defense, it was bad.
Maybe if it was a good mohawk,
Yeah.
but my friend gave me the mohawk and he was in like sixth grade.
Like a
so
straight
starting, so
buzz back
it wasn't
in your
good.
head.
Yeah.
Classic.
I can't imagine that
Hard to
now.
hide.
Like, yeah.
As
my
a
mom
boy,
noticed.
shaving your head.
Yeah.
That's different.
Just shears, clippers, any of that.
Should not be around
like
kids.
Friskers or whatever. Those like, school
name.
shears.
Yeah.
School scissors.
Mm-hmm.
Bad. Just can't really imagine it
No.
now. But
So you just moved.
yeah.
You literally just moved.
Just moved. My first day was Halloween.
Oh, wow,
At the
okay.
new place. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was at, I started at a salon, was there for like 3-4 years, and then moved to another salon, was there for about 2 years, and then opened in that old location 12 years ago, almost 12 years ago.
At the Eclectic Chair, the first one you just at right here?
Yeah. So that I opened my business in 2012 and was there until Halloween of this year. Yeah.
Wow.
So I just moved. I mean, like I said before, my business has taken a lot of shapes over the years, and I definitely, I'm a business owner and a person who likes to try things on. So I feel like I tried on a lot of different salon models and business models and stuff. And in those phases, it worked really well at that old location. Running like a spa at one point and a salon.
You had a lot of people there.
Yeah. I had a lot of people. I started by myself in a little studio, and then the rest of the building like started becoming available. So I started expanding into the rest of the building and taking on other stylists and spa professionals. Yeah.
The loudest truck in the entire world right now.
Right now. Yeah.
They always park them at the building right out there. So
Idle.
and they have to reverse, so it's like beep, beep.
Oh.
You always hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it adds character,
Right?
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, I want to talk about all those business models because
Yeah.
we've had some conversations about that.
Yeah.
And it brings up a lot of good points of like what type of ambiance you're trying to bring to your
Yeah.
salon and
Yeah.
what you're trying to go for. And
Yeah.
I know you had some thoughts and opinions about like just how it went for you when you're trying to like scale big with
Yeah.
more people in your studio.
Yeah. I guess like through my 20s, when I opened my salon, just I guess to start with, when I opened my salon, I just wanted to do hair. Like I just wanted to have a peaceful place to see my clients. I never wanted to own a salon. I never wanted to like manage people. It was kind of this situation that just fell into my lap, and it was like, this is the next step, right? Like this is the thing I have to do right now. To keep seeing my clients, to have the environment that I want to see them in. And so I kept like, I found success in that. I found I was really busy and seeing lots of clients, and was specializing in different things that people weren't really doing around here. Kind of had like a good gig going, I guess.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of people who were kind of influencing me, other business owners and mentors, kind of saying like, when the rest of that building becomes available, you should staff it, you know, like open up more chairs. And that's how you really retire and make money in this industry, you know?
Yeah.
So, and so I did that, and it just is not my vibe.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, how
Was
do
the
I put
money
it?
there like they said it was?
No.
Regardless of your
The
value?
money wasn't there how you
The
were
money's
feeling
not
it.
there.
So it was
like,
bullshit.
yeah, it's a racket.
It's not the way to
you know?
retire. They just
yeah. It's like the more I remember sitting down with this random like older guy at I was at like IBC, the brewing company here, and this guy sat down next to me. It was just like we ended up chatting, and he's like, he owns like all these businesses, has a lot of success, you know, just from our short visit.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, what I was gathering, I guess. And he's like, you need to staff your place, you know, get all these people. And I was in this place of just like, I'm doing that. And I'm like, no, like you have this huge building that costs you so much money. And then you have all these stylists who are paying you this flat rate, like booth rental rate.
Yeah.
And the utilities are so high because there's 10 hairstylists in there, you know, running blow dryers all day. You have like different, you know, taxes and all sorts of stuff that you have to pay, like just as a business owner. And then you're managing people. So on top of that, you're not able to like see your clients to the level that you would if you didn't have this staff. Yeah. And so I just kind of was like, okay, so easy math tells me that you're just breaking even, like staffing, you know, this big building or whatever with stylists. And so I tried that for a long time. Really was struggling with it the whole time. And I think by some external higher power, it was like, everyone is having a crisis and is leaving your business, and now you don't have to do this anymore. And I'm like, perfect.
Everyone left and you're like,
yeah, like someone
I'm
was
free.
moving, someone was like getting divorced, someone was like, I don't want to be a hairstylist anymore. And I'm like, that is such a relief. Like, see you
it was
later.
meant to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
well, yeah, there you
I
go.
say we parted ways gracefully,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
And it happened kind of organically. And so it was like, I just took some time for a few years working with, I had some family in there and a couple other people that were just kind of doing their own thing and didn't really need a lot of management. And so I leaned into that a little bit and just like took the space and the time to figure out what I wanted, and came across this company, this coaching company for salons that really was preaching like commission. You know, their whole motto is like commission salons, because that's how you kind of have more collaboration, more revenue.
So like you're paying the salon.
Yeah.
And then, okay.
And then the stylists are, you
Not
know,
booth.
yeah, and it's not booth rental. It's more of like the stylists are getting a percentage of your of the services they're doing.
Yeah.
And so I tried that too, and I just was like, you know, this is okay, but
It seems complicated.
You do have to divvy up the whole pot then. Like you have to do so much
So
more.
if someone does more work or more cuts, do they make the same amount as?
No. So you like if each of you came in and saw one stylist, then that stylist gets a percentage of what they got from you, like from your service. So if somebody's only working like 1 day a week, they're just getting a percentage of what services they actually complete. Yeah. Somebody who's hustling, and working every day, they are going to obviously earn more money. The percentage usually doesn't change a lot. But stylists, at least with this coaching model, really preach that like you should be able to set your own prices and kind of have your own policies and your own schedule. So there's a lot of booth rental freedom in that.
For sure.
But you don't have like the overhead of managing your own products and paying your flat rate rent. And and so I always kind of say it's like works more like a tax where everyone pays into the pot, into the salon or the business. And then the more revenue you're bringing in, the more budget you have for advertising, for upgrades.
Sure, as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it makes sense. And I think what it ultimately showed me, this is where like I try things on, it ultimately showed me that I've tried a few different ways of owning a salon and having staff that are in the salon profession, and that I just don't want to be a salon owner. Like I like seeing clients. Yeah. I love what I do behind the chair, and I don't resonate with salon culture, like the everything that comes with having a bunch of people working in one building that are doing salon and spa services. And I know so many amazing people who do it, I think that I think what sets my business apart is that I prioritize the client experience. Their experience when they're coming into me is what I put above everything else. Yeah. And what I want for them to experience is like a place where they can relax in ways they aren't able to outside of the salon. So, not having like kids in the salon and babies and things like that. To women who have kids and babies at home, that's not relaxing,
No.
So when you have a whole space full of other professionals, you can't necessarily like manage who they're seeing or what kind of environment they're.
Sure, you can't be like, you can't let their kid come in here.
Right.
They're like, oh.
Like you kind of have like, I tried to set policies and I think a lot of people resonate with that, but asking people to enforce that is uncomfortable sometimes if they don't believe in it. They're kind of like, Yeah. So my client experience is like, I like to run on time. Like I like to respect people's time. If they're getting a babysitter or, childcare and they're managing their whole life around like their personal appointments, like just getting their hair done. I want to make sure that when they're coming in for that 2-hour appointment or something that I'm respecting their time and not making them wait because I have all these other distractions or people walking in or phone calls or another stylist who needs me to help them with their client. And so
for sure.
I think all of the bodies in that environment can take away from the client experience. And
I agree. As a client who's experienced those, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Like the big full salon and there's all the people and people coming in and then each other helping each other out. Like, it's like, great, that's fine. But now I'm here for 5 hours, sitting here like twiddling my thumbs for 5 hours.
Right. It's a whole day experience.
So when you do it commission based and people are more independent versus renting a booth, does it get harder to manage like your business as a brand and like like you were saying, the ambiance and just everything overall? Like, do people try to do more of their own thing when it's commission based?
Usually the opposite. Yeah. So normally booth rent is like a 1099, a contractor. Yeah. They're paying you a set fee and then they have their own entity entirely. Commission is usually an employee. So normally they work for you. You are allowed to say, you can't do that. You can't wear that. You can't, but that's not really who I am as a person. So I feel like I want everyone to be able to be who they are and to see the clients they want to see. But it does mess with my vibe though, or my brand, right? And my client experience. And so, so I guess to answer your question, I think you have a lot more of that with booth rent than you do with commission.
For sure, to have your own business.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is that what you wanted to know?
Yeah, I was just curious, but I guess it doesn't sound like you were too concerned anyways about like creating a certain, like, I don't know, atmosphere. Like you're letting everyone just be their own person. You're not trying to be. Well,
I think that
was the problem. She didn't want to hold them back from having the conversations they wanted to have. Yeah. Even though they weren't conversations she wanted to have.
That I wanted to hear.
Yeah,
that is the problem. Is like, I think so many salons prioritize.
You okay over
sorry.
Yeah, just not staying out.
Do you need some?
I might just hold it.
Okay. Dang it. This. I feel bad for you.
It's okay. It's not that noticeable.
No, you're fine.
No, it's fine. Yeah. I feel like that was the problem for me. Was I feel like I couldn't have the client experience I wanted for the people I was seeing, or the experience I wanted the culture, and the environment I wanted to have, and have other stylists. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like for a lot of people, when they go in to get their hair done, it is just like fun and everyone's laughing and you're chatting about like politics or weird dating situations or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And so your stylist a lot of times is your person that you can have those like unfiltered conversations with. And I wanted to have those conversations too. When you have somebody that you've been seeing for, a year, like over a decade, who you really care about and you know so much about their life. And I don't take that for granted, and I take it really seriously that I have these deep relationships with my clients. And so when somebody is going through something really difficult and you're holding space for them while they're, having a conversation about a challenge that's happening in their life, or maybe their loved one's super sick, or, they're just struggling with parenting or whatever it is. And next to you, you're hearing like crazy, like drama. Yeah. You're just kind of like,
it's like not the place. It's
but also they need to have the right to like have that experience too. And so I think for me, I just decided right now in this season of my life, with how many hours I'm still working behind the chair, I just need to create an environment that feels good for me. And so that was I just moved, and that was a big reason why. It was because that old building and space was really set up for a lot of salon, and spa spaces.
True. It's like got cubbies and
tons of little like rooms and offices, and it worked for a long time for me. But I decided to find a new place that would just have one styling station, one suite. And so it's just one like big office that has everything I need to see my clients, all my color, all my equipment. Yeah. And it's inside of a business suite that also has room for workshops and events. I was going to ask you about that.
So there's more room because you were doing other things too.
Yeah.
Like you were doing workshops and classes and stuff.
Yeah. I started like, I guess it was like a year and a half ago, just kind of moving away from trying to staff the salon and spa and moving more into a creative space of just using a lot of the things I've learned from being a salon owner as far as how to manage people, create a brand, pay people, help them develop their own brand and their own sense of whatever they want to create and bring into the world. And so I have taken that and put that into a creative space for people to teach and host workshops. And so we do, now we do gatherings kind of that are all sorts of things. We do.
Have you still been doing those right now? Okay.
Yeah, I took a little break because I didn't know where I was going to be when I was like really ready to get out of that old building. I was worried that I was going to have to do like a temporary, situation.
Yeah.
But I found that place and moved over, and so those are getting like scheduled now and kind of getting back up on the website.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So we do some art classes. We have different self-development classes and events. Basically, all the things that I feel like I couldn't find in this community, I'm like, I'm just going to bring it here. We're just going to...
Just make it your own.
Yeah.
I like that. And especially like dead winter time, you need something to do.
Yeah.
And especially if you're offering, because you do fun things. It would be like, just like do a craft and like hang out.
Yeah.
Right? And like...
Yeah.
Or there'd be classes, like the charcuterie classes.
Yeah,
like
we did a charcuterie class or a couple of those. It's like what I really feel like I could provide as a salon owner was a place for people to come and connect on a deeper level, like having conversations with my clients that are really enriching and wholesome. And I was starting to notice that there was no other place so many of these people could have this conversation, and that they were really craving it, especially people coming from, out of town, moving into the Idaho Falls area. They're like, where are people like you?
Where am I?
Yeah, where am I? Where do I find people I can have these weird conversations with? And I'm such a person that is like almost no topic is off limits, like I think as long as you're not saying anything that's hateful or like demeaning to someone else, it is like we're good to go. You want to talk about aliens? Fine, let's do that.
Let's
cool.
talk about it.
You want to talk about like your childhood and the stuff you went through? That's cool. Like I can hold space for that, And so I started to see a pattern of people just like really needing that and craving it and asking me like, where do you find this? Where do you go to like read about this stuff or like learn about this stuff that you're talking about? And so I felt like I could provide that to people. I could be a place where they could get a small group of people together and come together for one like reason, right?
Yeah.
So all of the events are very themed. Like they all kind of have a very specific or unique reason for getting together, for putting the event on. And so that if you're gonna go to like a new moon celebration, you know who you're gonna be with. Like you're gonna be with some like woo woo sisters, If you're going to the junior makers, that's like a kid's craft, And usually it's all kind of spelled out. We're gonna do tie dye, or we're gonna do.
Are you coming up with those kids'
making
classes or someone else?
I have been, but my goal is like I don't want to do any of them. Not the kids, not because it's kids but I want it to be like somebody who's really passionate about this stuff. I want them to have a space to do that. So I just want to be the place, the website, the platform, the culture that's like, hey, if you have something to offer people, if you have a talent, if you are really passionate about something that you want to share with people, this is the place you can do it. If you're looking for community, this is the place you can find it. And it's been a lot of work to do that on your own, like trying to put all of these.
Are you trying to do that separately from your hair salon business, or is that a part of it?
It's all under the Eclectic Chair website. It's all in the same building. My hair clientele, because of my rigid, environment rules, I guess, and like rigid self around that, my philosophies, that is like when I'm doing hair, I'm just doing hair. There's usually nothing else going on in the building, which I really like. And a lot of people come in, they're like, it's just you here today. And I'm like, every day.
It's always me.
It's always just me.
So how has your life changed when you went from managing the whole salon with everyone else in there to just you?
Well.
Pros and cons?
Pros and cons. Pros are that I have a life outside of the salon now. My whole life used to just be, just the salon. I was like, eat, breathe, sleep, live it, you know? Mm-hmm. And so now I have a family outside of the salon. I have home life. I have investments and things that I'm working on that have nothing to do with that business, you know?
Yeah. Which is good.
Yeah.
Like put that energy into another sector.
Yeah. Like diversifying my, you know, my time and my energy and my resources. Mm-hmm. And growing like a real life too, you know?
That's important.
It's so important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cons are definitely supporting the whole business on my revenue, you know? So even having like a few extra bucks every day from another stylist makes a difference, you know?
Sure.
So that's a big con, but...
So from a profit point of view, do you make less not owning or managing the whole salon?
You said it was like about break even-ish. Like it's,
I know you're saying you're doing other things. So like in retrospect and big picture, taking on less in that one area means you can do more. But like strictly from just cutting hair, like I assume you're seeing just a little bit less of an income from just the hair cutting, or have you noticed more people now? Maybe like more of the
supply and demand.
People want you more.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I think my business, I've been really fortunate. Like my client, the bubble around my client list and like my time behind the chair is a bubble that is like doesn't get touched. When I was younger and doing booth rental, that's when I would like sacrifice that a little bit, you know, where I would kind of like let the other stylists or the other people in my business affect my client list or, you know, my time behind the chair.
Okay.
And now, you know, probably for the last 8 years, I'm just like, this is a bubble that we're not messing with. Like, we don't touch that. We don't mess with it.
Keep it solid.
I'm keeping it solid. I'm not, I'm not going to like.
Well, if it's a reliable bubble, don't pop it. Like you gotta stick with that.
So that and it's by itself hasn't changed, you know. Having other stylists, commission stylists, what I was getting a lot of was like I had to do a lot of mentoring and training, and so I would be in like standing behind the chair.
That's a whole nother job.
For let's say like 50 hours a week.
Yeah.
But I'm really getting paid for like the 30 hours a week that I'm behind the chair. So it's kind of like on a scale of like the money that I'm taking home, that hasn't changed, you know, with
to carry a stopwatch around people, like I'm helping you, starting your time.
Yeah, starting your time. You owe me $32.
I'll Venmo me. Okay. So pricing. I want to talk about pricing.
Okay.
Tell us about how you price yourself.
I charge by the hour. I've been doing that since 2014.
Oh, wow. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know that my clients back then necessarily, I don't know if I was as clear about it. That's how I would price the services when I'm, you know, giving an estimation or something on color. Or, you know, just blocking time and stuff like that. But since like 2019, I've been really vocal about it. Just, this is how I charge. This is why I do that, you know? So I charge by the hour, and that kind of started because I used to see so many short-haired clients. Like I used to do tons of pixie cuts. And a woman wearing a pixie haircut, a person wearing a pixie haircut, will get their haircut like every 3 to 4 weeks a lot of times. They don't want it to look different at all, you know? No growth.
Keep like, that millimeter short,
Yeah, like anything is noticeable, you know? And so they're coming every 3 to 4 weeks, and the salons I worked in before were like, and the standard is like a woman's haircut is this much, you know, men's haircut is this much, kids' haircut that much, just like a blanket label. And then there's all this stuff that's like a trim is a haircut, you know, it's just the same. It doesn't matter, whatever.
Sure.
And so that's its own thing, but I have like this woman's haircut that's $35, let's say.
Okay.
And you have somebody who comes in every 3 to 4 weeks. You literally spend 20 minutes on their hair because it is like you have it down, you know? And then you have this person who has super long hair to their butt that is like so thick and it's $35 and you just spent like an hour and a half.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like that comparison side by side is crazy.
Side by side. And that is a real, like absolute common thing. Like it's not this like one-off situation, you know? So I just started to really evaluate, why am I spending an hour and a half on this? And it's just a trim, you know? It's just a trim or whatever, but this person has so much hair, it takes me like 45 minutes to blow dry it. And this other person who is like your bread and butter, who's coming, like paying your utility bill, you know, or whatever every month because they're showing up so consistently. And they show up on time. They're like in and out. It's this whole super simple procedure, super, you know, efficient situation. And so I started to think like, why do we do that? You know? And then you get into this like long and short, thick and thin, like medium length,
all the things,
you know? Yeah. And so it's so complicated. This a la carte pricing is like, oh, I'm texting with this person I've never seen before. They have jet black hair. They want to have blonde, you know, and you're texting with them and you're like, well, a full foil is this much, you know, a deep condition is this much, a root smudge is this much, a tone is this much,
add it up.
A haircut is this much. And so you're kind of, what happens when you start to break down those a la carte pricing menus is you find that like people aren't paying consistently. Your product isn't really covered all the time. You have one person who pays an exponential amount side by side with somebody who like isn't paying hardly enough for what they're getting or something.
Sure.
And so all these factors sort of came in and I just was like, why do all these people in all these other industries charge by the hour? And hairstylists are like, no, we charge by the foil, we charge by the gram of color, and we charge by how much length is coming off of your hair. Like, and so I just like went through my whole book and broke down kind of like what every person was paying and just found an average in that. Yeah. And then took that average and broke it down by, you know, by the hour. Like, what am I approximately charging by the hour? How much product am I using in this person's appointment and this person's appointment? And what does that look like? And so my first hourly rate was $40 per hour. And then it's just gone up about 20% every 18 months or so. Yeah. Since. So.
And that was 2014 that you started?
2014. Yeah. 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 So currently my hourly rate is $100 per hour. And that's just, it's an all-inclusive, transparent price. So when somebody comes in for a foil, a lot of times when you're doing a foil with lightener, you're blonding, you're going to use, it's going to take a lot more time, but the product that you're using is less usually costs less, you know, per gram. Sure. It's the energy or the time you're putting into it, right? That's taking more than the hard cost of the appointment. But then you almost always will tone. And then you typically, a lot of blondes tend to just get like a dusting, you know, a skim trim, like we talked about earlier. And so when you factor all of that in, I know exactly what a gram of lightener cost me. I know exactly what a gram of developer cost me. Yeah. And so when you factor all that in, it all, like, more product takes more time to apply. More hair takes more product, takes more time. So it's very controversial, the hourly pricing thing. It's like, really, when you mention it to a stylist who's never heard of it, they're like, you're crazy. Like, how could you charge by the hour? That makes no sense, you know? And now when I think of a la carte pricing, of pricing a foil, thinking through my client list, if I was to charge my clients that way, it would be all over the place. Like, sure. And you would have no idea, you know, what you're going to pay every time you go in to get your hair done. And that creates a lot of
Stress.
It's like stress. Yeah.
Yeah, tons of stress.
Knowing it could be $150 or $400.
Right. It's like, well, today I actually put a few foils in your ends and I glossed them, and then I used an Olaplex, in your color, and then I did all these things that you didn't even know because your head is in a shampoo bowl.
And that allows you to be a way better hairstylist.
Right.
Than if they were trying to take control over that.
Right.
It's like nickel and diming. Just be done with that.
Yeah. If they said, I actually want to save $50, so I don't want a toner on my hair. And you're like, you're not walking out of here with yellow blonde hair. Like,
this is my name on your hair right now. So
yes. Yeah. So it's just kind of like, if you show me the communication with a client, the consultation is so much different now, because if you show me a picture, I can say, like, going from black to blonde or doing some extreme color change, I can say that's probably going to take 18 hours of labor, of time in the chair. Do you want to break that up into like 2 9-hour appointments, into 3 6-hour appointments, into 6 3-hour appointments? Like, what is comfortable for your budget and your time, and how quickly do you want to get there? And then they know it's going to cost $1,800. It's 18 hours of time. Yeah. There's no insecurity as to what they're going to pay, and they have control over their budget, because they can say, I can budget 2 hours every appointment. I can budget 2 hours every 5-6 weeks. Yeah. What can we do? And so then that puts the creative control in my hands, where I'm like, okay, this is the goal. This is how much time you can budget or cost you can budget. So this is how I think we should approach that, you know?
But then another kicker with you, though, is that you don't do like tipping.
Yeah, gratuity-free.
Yeah. So like that's another big thing, is like knowing like that 1,800 or whatever you said. Then like, and then on top of it, it'd be like, shit, like how much do I tip for that? Like, oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. So as long as you're getting paid enough that you're like, don't need gratuity, you don't need anything. I think that's great.
Has that backfired at all? Have you, because you're able to control what goes in that hour, so I guess you can make sure you don't ever go over and
I mean,
taken advantage of.
Yeah, I'm definitely somebody who I mean, I have a lot of like fail safes in place for stuff like that. One is I require a consultation for every new client. So if we've never met in the salon, you've never been in the salon, and you want color, we always start with consultation.
That makes sense.
And that's paid for and scheduled separately. So we come in, we meet, and
paid for.
Is that an hourly? Yeah, just your hourly rate also.
It's a half hour. So I technically charge $50 every half hour, because I will book hour and a half appointments, half hour appointments. So it is a paid consultation. And I used to do free consultations.
Waste your time.
The consultations can really get out of hand if you're not careful.
They can. The biggest thing for me that I learned was, the biggest reason I started charging for it was because people would just not show up. Like if they had booked something else, or like they just were like, I'm going to be 10 minutes late, so I'm just not going to go.
Literally.
It was like the second I started charging for it, people were on time, they're taking it seriously, they're showing up ready. Like, this is the point of the consultation, is for us to figure out where you're at, where you're going, what are your maintenance needs, like how often do you want to be in the salon? How do you take care of your hair at home? How often are you like washing and styling it? What kind of person are you? Like, what is good for you isn't good for everyone. So the whole appointment is the only purpose of the consultation appointment is to get all of those questions, put together. And then a lot of times people will come in and they want to go black to blonde, and you're like, okay, it's going to take this many hours, this much cost. And they're like, oh, I just kind of wanted to do it for my wedding, and then I was going to go back to black, And you're like, well, now you know, is it worth it or is it not? And is it achievable? Probably not. Or it just really helps it helps us to make shape, tangible goals, and like put together a game plan without the pressure of like, also I'm going to do your hair right now. So let's hurry up and get to the point so that I can
get going
because you just brought me this big old project we got to do.
And now we're already an hour in at least of talking. And
So we book that. That's all bookable online.
I like that.
just jump on my schedule. People pop up all the time.
Nice.
They show up, and then we meet, and then we chat. We figure out a game plan, and then we schedule them. Mm-hmm. They know exactly what they're going to pay. So if I tell them, I think this will probably take about 3 hours, and I get over, like, I'm going over that time, then I eat that. Like, I'm not going to tell them it's 3 hours and then charge them for 4 hours or 3.5 because I underestimated or, didn't give myself enough time. So, so that is like probably the one exception is just the
time management.
Like I'm going to make sure that one of my big foundational sort of cultural things is like just transparency, like people knowing what they can expect when they come in, what kind of environment to expect, how much they're going to pay, what kind of products I'm going to use, what kind of people are going to be around. Like, and so transparency and pricing is huge on that. And like not having any surprises, not having any awkwardness at the end. 'Cause you're like, oh, I thought that was going to be 200, not 300 or the tipping, like shoving it in your hand and like running because they're like,
I just don't know.
I don't know if I paid enough.
I don't know.
Yeah. So it's like, why are we doing that?
Yeah.
Let's just stop.
Yeah. So all of these people, where are you finding them? How are they finding you?
New clients?
Yeah.
Mostly word of mouth.
Okay.
Yeah. I used to do a lot of social media stuff. Tried to be really active on that. I just too old. I don't know. Just hate it.
Well, if you're like doing fine, then you don't need to like break your back.
I mean, if I'm doing social media, I'm getting a lot of people who are just found you on Instagram, And if I'm not, that slows down a little bit, but I get a lot of word of mouth. So it's just like, I know how to make it happen if I need to. And I tell myself a lot. I'm like, you need to make it happen. You need to. Do people know you still do hair? I don't know.
Do more.
Yeah, like put yourself out there. Get your work up on social media,
Yeah.
But a lot of times people just, they still find me on Instagram a little bit, or they'll get a referral from someone they know, or they just Google. And
do you do like SEO stuff?
No. I have a nice website.
Yeah.
But I used to. I used to do a lot more of this stuff, but
like the behind the scenes and technical.
We were just talking about this yesterday.
Yes, we were.
When you start dedicating like a day a week to just
like certain
website
things.
Content, it's just so hard. You set it all up once and then you try to stick with it, but
it's so hard.
The year goes by and you're like, oh my God, I haven't looked at that site since
I haven't posted a blog in a
last year.
Yeah, it's so hard.
What are these pictures on here?
I know. Yeah, I went through my website the other day and I was like, oh, what is this?
Literally, I'm like, people are looking at this?
Yeah,
delete.
That? I know, it's so hard. It's like,
well, it seemed good at one point, and then time goes on and opinions change and things change. And
just
you usually get better, and then...
Yeah, there's all of those things, and then there's also like my constant change desires, like pivoting all the time in my business, and I'm like, oh, I don't know what mood I was in when I wrote that, but we'll change that. Yeah.
So what collaborations have you done with? Have you done any cool things? Because I figure with your classes, that's kind of collaborating with other people and their
collaboration. Collaboration is, there's so many people who in this area are doing like so many awesome things, like I'm always just quietly in my little corner rooting for all of these people that I know who are like running salons and spas, and you guys like watching your podcast, seeing what you guys are up to. And so I'm just like quietly always rooting everyone on, and in such a season of just like putting my head down and building up my own little corner,
That's important though.
I mean, there's a lot of years where
you gotta
I was
have
like,
you first.
Can't root for anyone if you're not good.
Yeah. So I used to work with photographers a lot back when I was younger, and did a lot of hair for stuff
like some
like
fun
that.
things like
tons of like makeup and hair
things,
and different themes, and like tons of wedding shoots, and
it's pretty popular.
Worked with some boudoir photographers, and used to do some fun things like that. As far as like events and teachers go, I have some things in the works. I hope if they're right, they'll come together. You know, like I feel like there's some things like that are kind of taking shape. But
what was the last event that you hosted?
The last event.
Yeah.
Because you haven't started up yet, right? Your new place?
Yeah, no.
Not yet.
Not yet. The last event that we hosted, I'm pretty sure, was a new moon celebration, which is like all based on astrology and goal setting and planting seeds for like the month that's ahead. So that, I have a couple of people I know that are really into astrology and do some like healing work and stuff like that. And so they'll come in every once in a while and see some clients in the space or host an event. But yeah,
do all these random events you have like fuel you for your hairstylist, or is it just like another avenue for you to be creative?
It does fuel me because I think the environment or like the dynamic I have with my clients is like deeper than their hair. You know, like it's not just about getting your hair done. It's about like feeling connected to something bigger than you, and not that I'm bigger than them, but just that like having some sense of like I'm not alone. Like I'm not alone in like these things I'm struggling with, or this thing that's happening in my life, or this way that I think about something. And so having that like tether to something that is like to someone else that kind of has these similar streams of thoughts is very healing for people, and like really empowering for women to sit down in your chair and think like, oh wow, it's so healing to hear that like I'm not the only one who's going through this thing, right?
For sure.
And so when you have a group of people together who are having similar themed conversations, there's a sense of like a bigger purpose, a unity, like a sense of community, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think in my hair business, like that is what fuels me, is meeting with people who I actually genuinely love to see and like love to have just wonder, what are we going to talk about today? Yeah. You know, what kind of thing are we going to like uncover or
it's fun when you talk to someone that really catches you off guard and
like in a good way.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. In a good way, where you just feel like really inspired when you leave the conversation. Like I needed to hear that today. You know. And so I think my actual work, you know, putting foils in someone's hair, putting color on their hair, that is something I do take seriously and keep educating myself on, and I'm inspired still. But it's the people that inspire me, not the hair, not the color, not the, you know?
Yeah.
So it's all kind of goes hand in hand. It's all kind of this.
It's true, because you could be doing hair on like one of those fake doll things all day, and that would be like boring as shit. Yeah. Instead of having a person.
Yeah. Or you just have someone that you just don't click with. It doesn't happen very often anymore, because I feel like
Do you fire your clients?
Try to be myself.
That you don't click with?
No. I think the people that I don't click with, I think there's a lot of like
you both
parts
feel it?
Of who I am that when they meet me, they're like, no.
Have you ever had to fire a client?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Are you able to talk about it?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just when, like, I have been in this industry for 17 years. So you have to do things to keep loving it. Like, you have to be proactive in every part of your career to keep loving it. And if you're going to let yourself be in a difficult situation every 6 weeks because you have someone who's like really mean to you or really abusive, like you're not taking control of like what you actually can control, which is if you hate your career, like if you hate going to work, there's usually something that you can do about that. Not always, you know, but in a creative business, like there are things we can do when we don't like our jobs, right?
Switch it up.
A lot of times it's like, I'm so burnt out, what's going on? And sometimes it's just that person that comes in that is on your schedule that is so negative, you know? During COVID, during all the rioting and like lots of political unrest, there was people who came in there were people who came in that were super hateful, like just said things that were absolutely
just
not
uncalled for.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna hear it, and you're not gonna say that in my space.
Yeah.
No. And so I definitely had to fire some people then. I had to tell them they weren't allowed to schedule to come back. And I finished their appointment. I was calm, I was tactful, but it was like, can I get back on the schedule? And the conversation was no. Like I tried to redirect the conversations that we were having several times. You don't get to say those things to me, and you don't get to say them potentially in a room of other people who are going to hear that. Like, this needs to be a safe place for everyone, especially me. And that what you were saying was not.
It was not a safe space.
That. Yeah. And so I have had to have conversations like that are really difficult. And I've had people who just are always really unhappy with their hair, you know? And sometimes you have to be like, as a hairstylist, I have to be the one that sometimes like, maybe we're not a good fit, and we don't have to like hate each other at the end of that. We don't have to be like mad at each other about it. Maybe you should go out into the world and see if there's someone else out there that you like what they do better. It's totally okay. You know, I have my own style and my own way of doing things. Like hourly pricing, there's a lot of people who hate it. You know, there's a lot of people who love it. Yeah, it's controversial. So so there's people who are like, I do not want to pay that, and I'm like, I understand. You know, it's okay. But totally
then go
fine.
Somewhere else.
Yeah. There's other
Bye.
people. Yeah, still love you. But I'll see you later.
Definitely a hard thing to do at the beginning when you're not making the money yet, because you want to take it. You want to say yes to everything and take that money in. But you get enough of those bad ones.
Yeah.
The money doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Don't care how much you're paying me. I'm not dealing with you.
Right. Right. And do you want to keep loving your career like 10 years from now?
Because they will drain you.
Bully you out of there.
In a month.
Yeah. It is really hard to do. And I think that's the difficult thing with having other stylists. You know, that was one of the realizations was like, I have come to a place where I really love everybody that I see. Like I don't have people on my schedule that I'm like, ugh, you know, it's just like nice. Everyone I don't even look at my schedule in the morning. I get to work and I'm like, can't wait to see who comes in today. I'm excited, you know?
Yeah.
And not everyone has that luxury. And so not everyone can say no to work. Not everyone can say no to a super negative client. And so I'm loving my little bubble, my little studio.
That sounds like it didn't happen overnight, though. It took 14 years and
long time, learning, long time. Yeah.
How long did you work in other shops until you opened that first salon?
It was like 4.5 to 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that sounds pretty quick, right? To open up your own place, or is that normal?
I mean, I don't know. I think a lot of people just run right out and do it, and I'm like, how? But
right.
Yeah. It was pretty quick. I definitely was not ready. It was not.
Got to work out the kinks on someone else's dime.
Yeah. Got to watch a lot of things and decide like, oh,
don't want that.
No, probably not. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
So where is your place now? I think you said
it's on Woodruff
at the beginning.
Yeah, it's on Woodruff. It's in Parkwood Business Plaza now, so that's like very close to
by the
Papa John's and Play Against Sports and Baker's Dozen. Yeah, so it's near there. It's just in this little
I was kind of curious about
plaza.
The event space you said with the groups that you host.
Yeah.
How big is it?
I used to have a pretty big space that would hold like 15 to 18 people.
Okay.
And now in the new place, I have 2 separate rooms. I have a workshop room that is like comfortable for 6 to 8 maybe. And then I have a classroom space that is pretty comfy for like 10.
Okay.
So
pretty close to the same amount.
Yeah.
Just 2 rooms.
Yeah, 2 different rooms. I found that a lot of the classes with big groups were getting like derailed. And so you'd spend all this time putting together this class and then you'd just be wrangling people. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So now I'm like, 6 to 8 people is probably better, you know, a little more comfy, a little more intimate. Like you actually get a chance maybe to get to know people and
That makes sense.
Yeah. I used to work like 5 days a week behind the chair. And so I would work like crazy hours. And
crazy
now,
hours.
Yeah.
Like early to like 9 p.m., right?
Yeah.
Like late.
Did I hear you right earlier? You said a 9-hour appointment
Yeah.
for someone? That's a thing?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
It is. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't do a lot of those because
You
I
need to
feel
charge
like
more.
I would
That's
say I'm
crazy.
too old. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm too old for that now, so I can't.
Yeah.
I think like 6 hours is my max these days. It's just like we
Gets
don't even like each
old.
other at the end of that 6 hour
Literally.
appointment.
That's still a long time.
Let's keep liking each other. Come back tomorrow. Like come back another day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to work like 10, 12 hours, sometimes 14-hour days, and I would work like 4, 5, 6 hour days.
Holy cow.
And that was when I was charging less. So there's kind of a reason you raise your prices as a stylist. I think the reasons you raise your prices is to kind of give people who can't pay more, give these newer stylists an opportunity to like have these great stylists or these great clients that maybe are just not the best fit anymore, price wise or whatever. And so it's kind of like the natural cycle of.
That's a really interesting way to look at it.
Yeah.
Like
I've never thought of it that way.
No.
That once you get hired, that leaves opportunity for new people to come in and.
Yeah.
But the problem is if they stop raising their prices, then.
Right. So many people. I see.
Interesting though.
There's a huge like controversial thing with like closing your books. It's like a big thing in the service industry.
Like no new clients?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I am always taking new clients, always, because I don't believe in closing your books. I don't believe that you can. Yeah, I don't believe you can keep progressing as a person, as a stylist. I'm not saying that people aren't progressing if they're doing this.
Yeah.
My personal belief is that how do I keep progressing if my books are closed?
So that's common practice to do that?
It's common to like fill up your book, to have a full book and then close your book and just say no new clients, not accepting new clients. So I believe in the natural process of when your books get full, your demand is high, you don't have any more space for new clients, or your current clients are booking out 2, 3 appointments. Who wants to do that, So a lot of times raising your prices helps people that were already like, it's too high now, and now you're raising your prices. So it's like, I gotta find someone else.
I see.
Yeah. And so it's kind of a way of like continuing to elevate the client experience, but
I like that
also
thought.
Giving newer stylists great. It's never that I don't want to see these people or like, you don't want to pay my price.
Yeah.
It's just these are wonderful people who I've been seeing for a long time, and they'll make some new stylists like a great career, Yeah. Like,
that's nice of you.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really positive way to look at it. I've like literally never thought of that.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, just sharing, sharing the good, the good vibes.
That makes sense.
What was the original question we were talking about?
What were we talking about?
It was like right before.
It was obstacles. Wasn't it obstacles?
Were we talking about? I don't know. I thought we were talking about. Well, I started derailing it, talking about closing your books and stuff.
Yeah, we got distracted with closing books. It's okay.
I don't know.
I don't know. Oh, it was balancing your life.
Oh, my home life. Yeah. Yeah, so in raising my prices and cutting down my hours a little bit, I just work 3 to 4 days a week now behind the chair.
Awesome.
It's usually still 10, 12 hours sometimes. Mondays are like my get stuff done day. So it's usually my admin days.
Yeah.
Days that I'm, paying bills and placing orders and
that's
just
important,
in the shop still taking care of stuff. Yeah.
I need admin days. I need to catch up on these things.
It's good to have like that block of time,
I need to.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to add that to our schedule, like a day every week. That's like behind the scenes.
Non-negotiable,
Yeah. Like I need to.
If you avoid that, then all of the stuff you're working for, it's gone.
Piles up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Saturdays, you're not going to do on Saturday.
Yeah.
You're going to be like hanging out, doing something fun.
Yeah. Then you can enjoy the rest of the week knowing you did it and you're good.
Yeah. Mondays are awesome because like now with family at home, they're all gone on Mondays. So I'm not missing out on anything. I know for sure
like
they're
at school.
Yeah. Like they're at school or at work. So they're not, they don't need me on Mondays.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole, like, most people are at work. So if you need to go out and run some errands, it's not busy.
Yeah.
Going to the bank, stuff like that. It's just,
Yeah. Having your off days in the week are the best.
It is.
It is the best.
In retail, we always had ours be like during the week.
Yeah.
Didn't want to go to the beach on a weekend.
No.
Shit show.
No.
You can actually get things done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can actually get things done. Mondays, though, I mean, I will say lots of bank holidays. So, like, every time I'm trying to go to the bank, I'm like, that's
a good point.
Like brother sister day. I don't know, like
random state holidays. Where you're just like, what is this?
What?
Yeah, it's Arbor Day. I thought that was Canadian, but whatever. Okay, we're closed. I don't know.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on
Thanks
our
for having me.
podcast. Do you have any last closing advice for someone who was maybe going to start their own business? I guess it doesn't have to specifically be like in the hair industry. But maybe just like
business
starting a business or
buckle up.
Okay.
I don't know.
No, that's good advice. Yeah.
That's good advice. Yeah. Put your boots on, man. You got
very
some work
honest
to do.
advice.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think like, don't be afraid to experiment. I think experimenting takes all the shame and guilt out of like not making something successful.
Okay.
Just like allowing yourself to try something new and saying, we're going to it's an experiment, you know?
Yeah.
Like these events, they're an experiment.
Yeah.
Being a one studio salon, it's an experiment. I'm just trying it. And if it doesn't work, we'll pivot, you know?
Yeah. What's the worst that can happen?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's when you get stuck and don't pivot and just get mad at the world for changing and your business not working that it's game over.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got to keep moving.
Yep.
Keep moving. Okay, so your business is on Woodruff.
On Woodruff.
By Play It Again Sports, kind of.
Yep.
So,
635 South Woodruff.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then you are on Instagram.
Yes.
You're the Eclectic Chair.
Yep. And the hair biz.
And the hair biz for her personal.
Yep.
Okay, so make sure and follow her.
Yeah.
Her books are not closed.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They're not closed. They're never closed.
They're not closed. So you can check her out and get a consult.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Tia.
Bye.